As it is now, every single week I probably have about 4 to 5, maybe even 6 trainers traveling Africa delivering solutions. Now, as a business, we understand what's required to deliver those solutions outside of our branches, whether it is in Africa or at your premises, at your offices. We have mobile kits, so we literally pick up a kit, we go to the customer. Drop it on the plane, we go to the customer. And that kit has everything that is required, whether it is connectivity, our Cisco lab, or infrastructure that we have within our own environment. We host our own labs, or whether it is on-premise, PC, virtualized environments that we create to actually deliver the training. One of the key differentiating factors is that we believe that each individual has got a stake in participation. We've got a full-time employee. So every course that we run, well, call it 98% of the training that we do, is done by one of our own employees, one of our own trainers. We have 57 full-time employees, full-time trainers, the company's 150 strong, but 57 people that is cross-skilled, meaning that I don't just train Microsoft. I can train Microsoft and I have a skills plan to do VMware as well. Same with Azure and AWS. Somebody that does Oracle also has an understanding about SQL, because we believe that's the value that we put in the class. We don't necessarily train individuals that's just working on a Microsoft platform. We look at individuals within organizations across platforms, moving away from Oracle, moving onto SQL, implementing part of certain environment away from the valve. Our facilitators have that skill to be able to speak to the delegate class itself. 320 is a big number, but that's the number of courses that I run per month. We call it short courses because every course is roughly 3 to 5 days that you attend with us. If you're going to attend a Microsoft course with us, an Office 365 course, for instance, that is 5 days out of office. Between our 3 branches, which is situated in Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Rivonia in Tyke Valley, Cape Town, we currently have 320 classes scheduled every single month. And we just opened up another branch, which is the 4th branch, but we call it Joburg as well, because we've grown our current building, so building next door as well. Rivonia currently has 23 classrooms, and we've opened up another building with 15 classrooms. So that 320 is up and coming, and it's still growing. So the type of training, I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later. There's 5 different means of doing training, and I think everybody understands the structure of their training. That is a preferred methodology of training. When you come to a classroom, and I always refer to it as such, is you like to be touched. You like to have somebody standing in front of you talking to you as I am now, but you want to talk back. And that talking back and certainly the information that's passing is beneficial for other individuals. That's why structured training has always been good ways of doing training. But not only do we do that, we do what we call virtual training. So you could be sitting here, we could be running a course in Cape Town. Or we could have a course running in Johannesburg, but the individuals are spread across 6 towns and 3 out of Africa. So you can virtually connect to the classroom. The only difference here is that you can't touch the instructor. But you can still speak to the instructor. You have a choice of video and voice. The bandwidth is restricted in where you are at, and you can switch off the video. But we use Skype for Business to do our deliveries over. And again, the training offering is exactly the same. Other than you can't touch the individual. We have something called video on demand, and that's specifically to the Microsoft side. So some individuals find it very difficult to get out of class, out of the workplace. Some individuals prefer to do what we call self-paced study. So video-based learning is purchased off demand. We'll give you 3-month access to a course that we would run in-house, and you would then have pre-recorded video sessions, 3 to 8 minutes long. So there's multiple of those covering the same course objectives. The only difference here is that you can decide I have half an hour, so you can utilize half an hour to do a bit of study. Alternatively, you have the whole afternoon. It's all dependent on what available time you have. But you have 3 months to complete that training. And built in with that, there's knowledge-based assessments to ensure that as you learn, that you understand what it is that you're learning. So there's knowledge-based assessments right throughout the course, and every module ends with a test to ensure that you understand the technology that you've gone through. We use what we call Microsoft Labs Online. So those labs are hosted in the US, So as you would in class, we create an Infobras simulated environment. Practice what you preach. At the end of the day, our classes are balanced, 50% theory, 50% practical. We want you to break our environment and not necessarily your environment. That is the simulated environment. With video-based learning, you get that same thing. That is driven through Azure and you actually do a web-based interface. We have on-site training, which as I referred to, whether it's your premises in Africa, it does not make a difference where that training is. It could be right next to the wall. Customized training, and that really speaks to if there's something very specific that you would like to do, whether it is the mix of various modules. So we take 3 courses, there's a couple of objectives in there, we can build a custom course for you. Alternatively, to give us the objective, we recently did a SharePoint delivery for a client, and it was a very customized course. There's no content for it. So we worked with the implementer, we wrote the courseware for them. It was a mix of on-premise and project online, and we were able to then put that 92% refers to our client satisfaction score. So we are evaluated in terms of our delivery, or quality of delivery. It is done by an external company called Metrics That Matter, and they again report back to the vendor itself. So, for instance, to give you an example, Cisco, as an instructor, you get a 5, when you below 4, you get a tick next to your name. If it happens again, Cisco will send somebody to attend your next class to see if there's a problem. If that class is problematical, you are removed as an instructor. You're no longer to deliver as an instructor until you recertify. And that recertification requires that you do a delivery of training to Cisco itself. So we use this specific company to report independently to us. Every individual will complete an end-to-end report at the end of the training. It is not made available to the instructor. And that's very important because I think some individuals feel that if the instructor is reading it, they don't necessarily want to say anything bad about the individual. But again, web-based, and according to a report, that reporting goes through to our directors, and it's reviewed with all of the departments to ensure the quality of the delivery is exceptional. We're sitting with the 92% satisfaction score rating, but I think anyone will ever reach them. And then in terms of the number of classrooms, we currently have 65 classrooms. I refer to the state of the art because the type of training that we do and the IT base does require an exceptional high standard of Microsoft actually drives the hardware we deliver our training on. So from a Microsoft perspective, the expectation is 16 gig, we want 32 gig machines. 500 gig drives, we use solid state drives because we believe that that additional speed makes a difference in terms of classroom experience, especially if you're running 7 or 8 views at the same time. Your monitors, because we've gone green, so all your monitors, all your content will be available to you digitally. And of course, from a Cisco VMware perspective, we have our own data center. We've probably spent about $2 to $3 million years to maintaining our own environment, but that's so we can deliver effective training to our customers. In terms of the products that we are able to deliver, I refer to 24 various technologies, and here is all of them at that point. DevOps is something that we're currently working on, so 24 will become 25. But it's from a project management perspective, where the project management is Agile PM, whether it's PITS, whether it's PMBOK. Different methodologies utilized in different countries and certainly different organizations. ISO, ITIL, technical code, there is the SDI, which all form part of the management courses, open source. But the business of open source component will refer or train on Red Hat, Novell, and Linux. VM, VMware, Microsoft, ASUS, CompTIA from entry-level perspective, PC Council from a security perspective, which is certainly a very big growing unit within our business, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the environment. One thing I want to refer to here, and what I love about this, that Microsoft is probably the only product that basically competes against Microsoft. Because where you find an Oracle, you find a SQL. Where you find AWS, you find a SQL. And so on, you go on VMware and Hyper-V. So that portfolio is significantly large because it has so much to offer into various products that client. So key differentiators between us or for us and training with us is accredited courseware. We form part of the vendor aligned process. So when you do any form of training with Talk IT, I'm sure everybody's heard of the word great training. And that's something we stay very far away from. We will not offer any training that's not vendor aligned. And certainly what we will not do is deliver it until we've got the vendor accreditation. And that means whether we train our facilitators locally or we send them overseas to be trained. Once they have been trained, we've gone through the vendor approval process, then we will offer it as a technology. Those vendors write courseware, and those courseware is what we do. There's dedicated account managers, so for an account, certainly yourselves, you will deal with a very specific person within our organization. Re-attendance, so once you've attended a course with us, it's human nature to forget. Human nature to forget things that you're not implementing every single day. So you can re-attend that course for an admin fee, literally comes down to your lunch. For 6 months of completion of the course. If you need to refresh the course, by all means, you've got exam objectives and you're a little bit hesitant. Lunch is a big thing. Quality of training is very much dependent on the quality of the lunch. So we put a little bit of effort into the lunch itself to make sure that the lunch is decent. We have an ongoing 6-month schedule. Are there anybody here that needs to plan for a team? Are you all part of the team? So for you to apply and do training, of course, you need a bit of insight into when the training is happening. We will always give you a 6-month period of a schedule. So the schedule for now will run up until December. Every month we kick 1 month off, which is the current, and we add another month. So that allows you to plan your days, plan your schedule, apply for a study leave to be trained. I referred to customized training already. State of the art equipment, we do spend a lot of money on that equipment, partly because it's one of the assets required to effective training. On completion of training, you'll get a course attendance certificate, whether it's a Talk IT certificate or a vendor aligned certificate. So for instance, on the Microsoft side, you'll get one of each. From a CompTIA side, you'll only get a CompTIA specific one. From a Cisco one, Cisco will send it to you directly. That is a certificate of attendance. Your next step is to go write the exam, and that's always our recommendation. If you need to prove your capability within the product, a lot of the training is aligned to certification. Write the exam. We have dedicated technical specialists, and that would be myself. I'm a business unit manager for Talk IT, as Lyndon said at the beginning. My focus is solely Microsoft. So having 24 technologies within the organization, our salespeople just can't know everything. So we're there to support them. We see them as customers inside the business as well as outside of the business. Majority of our training is instructor-led training. This conversation is very different in the US, for instance. They're much more open to video-based learning and we call it virtual training. Where in South Africa we like to be in a classroom, we like to have a great meeting whilst we're on training. Software assurance training vouchers, that refers to enterprise agreement. I'm not really going to go into that here now, but that really just means that depending on the organization, of course, your education organization, you don't get software assurance training vouchers. But that means that for organizations spending a lot of money on licensing, they get free training from Microsoft, they can redeem that directly from us. On-site training, we come to you, and then of course, peer review and Prometric, where else to write your exams but at our facility. You know everybody, once you do a course with us, you're part of the family. And there's nothing nicer than getting away, coming to our environment, knowing everybody, setting the nerves, and writing the exam. A lot of the vendors are moving though to a one where you can go write that exam at home as well. So for instance, Microsoft exams, you are a little bit shy and you don't want to be in our environment, you'll be 1 in 25 writing at a time. We've just opened up another exam second building that will accommodate another 20 people. You'll be 1 of 49 writing every single day. You can write your Microsoft exams at home nowadays as well. Yes. Okay, so you need internet connectivity, you need a video, a camera. You will then schedule the exam, with an online proctor. The online proctor is probably sitting in the US. We will arrange with the time, which is fitting to your times. When you start your exam, that online proctor will ask you to take the video and walk through the room to make sure that there's nothing blocked on the walls, that there's no distractions, there's no people hiding behind your seat. Once she's happy, she gives you the nod of approval, the video is focused on your face, and in the exam, as it would be at our testing center, will be made available to you on your PC. But they monitor you, and they use software to monitor your facial expression. Because if your eyes are moving in the wrong direction, because Joe is suddenly standing there with that big whiteboard with all of the answer sheets, and you keep on glancing to the left, they'll pick up on that type of thing. You'll be disqualified from that. But essentially, that's what you're now able to do. So again, it's working great in the US here. People still want to get to our environment and write the exams. It's much of a muchness. As long as you pass, I think that's what it matters. And then, of course, last but not least, our certificates. Vendor certified instructors. We got this certified environment. That's a requirement in our business. Because at the end of the day, I want to deliver quality training from a certification perspective. You want to go and write the exam. I can't put Joe in the class, and Joe knows about the product, has never seen the exam, doesn't know what he's talking about, and that work task, admin, dev, or fasting. Any questions with regards to this? So on the Microsoft side, there are 5 pillars that they refer to when it comes to training. The first one is called Microsoft Virtual Academy. It's something that, and I must be honest, as a learning party, we were extremely worried about it. But anyone here who's seen MBA, Microsoft Virtual Academy? Okay, so that's free training for everybody. Do yourself a favor, open up a web browser, type MBA or Microsoft Virtual Academy. MBA is a lot faster. And it'll immediately pick up Virtual Academy. You can go there, and there are a ton of courses available. Oh, really? Already? Jeez! I was told I was 15 minutes, then I was 40 minutes, and I'm already like running out of time. What was your view on MBA?
That was excellent. I would recommend it.
Okay, there's an experienced individual sitting here. MBA doesn't cover what we do in class, but if you need to bridge a gap or get a bit of exposure on the product, MBA is the place to go. So you create a profile, you can compete in country if you want to, in terms of, because you get buttons and you get rewards and all that type of stuff. As you complete the courses, you get points. But MBA is a great place to actually see where the technology is going. Take CERT 2016, for instance. And I'm going to say the launch is imminent, and imminent means in the next 3 or 4 months. But do you want a bit of a preview? Go to MBA. Because MBA right now has got a session scheduled on Server 2016. And if you want more depth training, then you come to me, which I hope will be next. Sorry?
MBA.
MBA, yeah. So it's a great.
Victor and Albert.
So it's a great tool. Just a video on demand that I referred to earlier, that is built on MBA. So what it's done is it's taken MBA, I've got a racehorse, we shot it up with some great drugs, and it's an absolute beast at the moment. Microsoft Press, so that's self-study, it's Microsoft books, written by Microsoft that you can actually go and purchase. That's to align to exams or product. Very similar to what we do in class, but naturally you don't get that practical experience. So you get a book this thick and it's only theory based. It does help with exam preparation, and some of the books actually do include exam prep. On demand, as I said, the new thing, that is video-based learning. It is exactly the same as MBA, except it is a lot more powerful. It is aligned to what we do in course, so if you're going to train a CERT 2016 course, for instance, it is the same curriculum, the same methodology as MBA. It's all web-based, browser-based, and you will then be able to cover the content as it is in class. Official curriculum, and that's generally where we focus. We call it MOC or DMOC for Digital Microsoft Official Curriculum. That is the training that we do. We align to Microsoft's curriculum. We They write the courseware for us, but of course we deliver the classes. And of course everything, regardless of what it is, other than MBA, because MBA will never lead to exam, your MCP. So once you write an exam, first exam that you write to pass, you will cover an MCP, a Microsoft Certified Professional. And a number of exams will then lead to a formal certification. I'll show you the certification in a second. Certification also continuously evolves. So in terms of our capability, I've tried to find a single picture that will sum up everything. It doesn't make a difference what technology you're utilizing. We cover everything other than Microsoft Business. And Microsoft Business refers to Navision, Exacta, CRM, Great Plains. The only components that we don't really focus on. From a CRM perspective, I'll show you administration, but that's really it. Other than that, whether it is Windows Server, but we always look at the market. So currently we do 16, and we look at the previous release 2012. Windows 10, or Windows 10 and Windows 8 is still running. Anyone that's running a Windows 8 certification track at this stage, you have until end of the year. Before those exams retire, you will no longer complete. Windows 10 actually is now the dominant, or I call it the dominant operating system, because that is the way of the future, the operating system of the future is the best of everything. You can look at Windows 7, you look at Windows 8, the combination of the two. And we're looking at a product that's nearly a year in market, I think, recently, or within the last week or two, sitting on an install base of 350 million worldwide already. And it's moving massive pace. 3rd of August, anyone that's got Windows 10 installed here? So 3rd of August is a big day for you, because that's when the anniversary update comes out. So we've seen a lot of changes in Windows 10 if you're part of the insider community. That will be made available to you. So Windows 10, as you see it, will be enhanced. It's the same thing, but there's a lot of a lot of changes that's going to be underneath the hood, visual as well as capability. SharePoint, 2016, 2013, we need to go down to 2010, we can do so. Exchange Server, same thing. SQL is a phenomenal product. Anyone here that works on SQL? Yourself? Which version do you use? 2012. Okay, great. So of course you've got 2014, which is very similar. 2016, there's a lot more emphasis put on the business intelligence component of it. Visual Studio, from a programming perspective, whether it's C#, whether it's ASP, whether it's in Azure or HTML, that's what we train on. Hyper-V is your virtualization technology, and I'll always say this, from a competing perspective, Hyper-V is a phenomenal product. Years ago, competing against VMware was down. Now you're starting to see how they compete with one another, where they're literally taking a deal a day away from VMware. The product just gets better and better and better. I haven't seen it in Server 2016, but I expect it to be absolutely phenomenal. I think we're referring to nested virtualization, am I right?
Yes, come to the next section.
Oh, awesome. Well, then I'm not going to. Well, let me just give you a little bit of an intro. Nested virtualization is running virtualization within virtualization. That's pretty cool. Skype for Business, so good old link, that's now become Skype for Business. And then, of course, Azure. And Azure and Office 365, well, actually, I'm going to refer to all three here. EMS, Office 365, and Azure, cloud-based technologies. So EMS is very much connected to Office 365. It focuses predominantly on the security components. Office 365, as you saw in the previous session, if anybody attended it, is a combination of various of those products sitting in the cloud. And I think there's a big fear in terms of if I go Office 365, what happens to the IT administrator? Well, the IT administrator's got so much workload as it is, let's try and make life easier. So implementing Office 365 makes your life easier because then you can focus on other components of the business. But 365 is a combination of SharePoint, Exchange, Skype for Business, it has CRM in, and then of course Azure. Azure is everybody know Azure? It is Microsoft's cloud-based offering with regards to infrastructure, software in the cloud. It doesn't actually make a difference whether you're running Oracle, whether you're running SAP, all sitting in the cloud and accessible from anywhere in the world. Azure is definitely a key component for Microsoft. It's a big bet for Microsoft, and I think that bet is slowly but surely paying off. And then last but not least, System Center, which is to me one of the best products in the market space. System Center can help you manage your entire environment. So as an example, you've got 10,000 clients. How are you managing those 10,000 clients? Are you being proactive or reactive? From a reactive perspective, you're dealing with the problems after that happen. So System Center will allow you to become a proactive environment. Tell you before the problem actually happens. Whether it is operations manager from a server perspective, system center configuration manager from a client perspective, and there's a couple of other components. 2 minutes, 3 minutes? 3. Okay, awesome. But this is the certification part for Microsoft, as it was a month ago. So this has changed, and will change quite a lot this year. We actually, which is great, we struggle to keep up because there's been so many new things coming to market. And that's great because change is always good for us. But from a certification perspective, you're literally looking at 3 forms of certification. Well, actually 4. The MCP, once you write your first exam. If you want this, by the way, we have one of my account manager, Sally, with the popcorn, standing in the aisle as you come in. She'll have this available for you. But from a certification perspective, if you're in the IT Pro side, you'll go from MCP to MCSA. So MCSA means that you have a foundational skill in terms of a technology, whether it's Office 365, whether it's server, or whether it's SQL. You then move on to what we refer to as the MCSE. And the MCSE certification means that you now become specialized. Specialization means that you've got a key component that you've got to. You don't need to stop with one. You can go to SharePoint, you can go to server infrastructure, you can go to business intelligence. So you can own multiple certifications. But those certifications have to be revalidated every 3 years, alternatively you will lose it. So revalidation is very simple. It's something that you can actually do on MBA today. There's a lot of courses, there's internal courses and assessments that you do. Once you complete those assessments, you will reactivate your certification. It's valid for 3 years. If the MCSA is subsequently changed, you will get that MCSA with that for free of charge. From a development perspective, we go straight towards the MCSD, Microsoft Certified Solution Developer. So again, there that depends whether you web apps, Windows apps. We talk about the universal app, application lifecycle management, SharePoint development, using C# or HTML. There's a number of various certifications that you can do. So depending on your job role, depending on your key focus, this is the discussion that you're more than welcome to have with Sally standing up front. If she can direct you if your aim is to achieve certification, actually how to go about that. But I claim I'm supposed to do this. Sure. Oh. Imagine if I could squeeze that in 15 minutes. Is there any questions? Yes.
Normally,
Sorry, say that again. How long are they valid for? So, if you achieve an MCC or MCSD, from the date that you achieve it, the MCC is 3 years, the MCSD, the developer, is 2 years. If you achieve an MCSA, there's no expiration on that certification. MCP, there's no expiration, but technology moves on. If you're going to go to an application at their workplace, for instance, and you show them a Windows XP certification, they're going to laugh at you. They're going to say to you, well, aren't you current, buddy? So it's always work towards your certification because it helps you today. But then it's important to remain current as well as technology changes. Okay. Anything else? Anyone? Yes.
Would you
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, look, there's a bit of a catch-22. Sometimes people say, where's your certification? Sometimes people say, where is your workplace experience? But I believe that certification, from a hiring perspective, there's validation in terms of that certification. The individual has maybe been in a testing environment, in a simulated environment, but he's proven his capability. So he's achieved the certification. What the certification then speaks to the hirer or the employer is that this guy knows his stuff. So because he knows his product, it's so much easier to hire that individual versus somebody that just walks in and says, yeah, of course I know my stuff, but I've got nothing to prove it, nothing to show you that I actually know my stuff. So we always need to start somewhere. I'm a firm believer that certification training is the right place to start. Because once you have that certification training, the next step becomes a lot easier.
Maybe after that you could get.
That's a
Because, I mean,
combination of.
I've realized that nowadays, when you look at the book, they always want an IT degree plus the certificate.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. Depending on your financial situation, is that you need to start somewhere. So what I can do is get a certification because it's the shortest road. Versus so to give you an MCC is 5 courses of 5 days each. So I'm not going to say don't do 25 days of training back to back because you'll walk out of there a zombie and you'll actually have forgotten what you've already done. But that road will get you there within, say, anything from 6 to 12 months. That then allows you to go and do an application to get hired. That means you're now starting to get an income. Then you can decide on the next step in terms of, well, if you're funding your own means, you'll have a job and you can study part-time. Just depends on your financial
Also, the
situation.
view that a lot of people in the workplace have is when you come out of a degree, most degrees are quite generic.
Yeah.
So you'll learn about databases, but you won't necessarily know SQL or Oracle specific. When you go into a workplace environment, depending on what the lay of the land is there, if you've got a certification on the technology that they've got running, yes, they love the degree, but it's very generic. But it's a certification of the technology that they're running, that it comes very to me, you know about that specific, you don't know about generic databases, you've got a certification of they're running.
As adding to that, one of my colleagues who works in my unit with me, he's now doing a part-time course because he wants a quick understanding to be able to go to customers and talk. So he's doing for databases, he's doing development infrastructure. He's completed the development cycle. He did VB6. And VB6 refers to, well, when did we change to .NET? 2003. So he's doing something pre-2003 at Varsity. We're currently running Visual Studio 2015, which is probably 8 flavors on. So certification training speaks about the current technology that's available now that's being implemented by organizations now. From a degree perspective, it's principles, and I believe it's outdated technology. Curriculum changes, takes a lot longer than what it does within a learning center.
Okay.
Happy?
Well, thank you very, very much.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, the next session is going to be